What's up, everybody? Welcome into the first edition of the Playbook. I'm your host, Aiden Schoeff, alongside my partner in crime for this football season. Get used to it, Colin Cimino.
What's up, guys?
All right, well, this is the first edition of the show. We're going to label it Week 1, just as it is for Sam Styler's guys out on the football field. Coach, it's a pleasure to be here with you this morning. How are you?
Good, man. Thanks for having us. Appreciate you guys.
And just before we get this thing started, I want to preface this by saying not only is Sam Styler a great football coach, he's also a great U.S. history teacher. I just felt the shout out was necessary.
I'll take that.
So I wanted to get that in there. Yeah, so let's
Appreciate
catch everybody up. We have last year's stats here on the file, 4-5 record.
Yep.
I believe 2-4 in conference, and you placed 5th in the Upstate 8 division. Despite that losing record, though, I want to look past that for a minute. Looking back at last season, what positive qualities from last season are you taking into this year?
I mean, obviously it wasn't the kind of way we wanted the season to go. Going 4-5 is never something that's on the goal sheet. But you go and you look back, we had a lot of young guys that were able to get some valuable varsity experience. I mean, we had 6 sophomores up on varsity for us. We had a strong junior class that got a lot of playing time, right? We had a couple great seniors. So, you know, just being able to get that valuable experience for some of our younger guys was a great outlook for us going into this season. You know, the guys worked hard throughout the whole year. Some games just didn't go our way, and, you know, now we're kind of using that as fuel going into this season.
For sure. So going back to last season, continuing on that route, what do you think were some of the biggest challenges, whether it was with last year's seniors? Obviously, they're out the door now, but even with the juniors that will be, you know, at the top of the class this year, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced as you went throughout last year?
Yeah, I think it's just, you know, having some youth out there, playing varsity football, and I mean, if you ever played a varsity sport, you know that's just a little bit of different vibe out there, right? Like when you get out there and the lights are kind of shining, whether it's on the hardwood or you're out in the field, varsity football moves at a different pace.
Yep.
So when you have some younger guys out there, just getting used to the feel of it, it took a minute, right? And I think we had a couple highlights from the season, right? Obviously beating Glenbard South was a great win for us, but a couple learning experiences throughout the way too that hopefully this year, like with the experience that we got coming back, they could teach some of those younger guys who are up there this year with us on varsity, kind of how varsity nights go, how Friday nights go, the crowd, the environment, the energy, the speed of the game. I just think that, you know, those guys set a great foundation for us, and now we know kind of what we got to work for this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I know week 2 we're ready against Hinsdale South. We're going to make sure that all the fans are out there packing the place and getting things going for you. But more specifically, were there any key moments last year, good or bad, that stood out to you as sort of turning points for better or for worse? Yeah,
I mean, obviously, like getting a week 1 win was great, but I think we kind of learned pretty quick that nothing is just handed to you. I feel like, you know, with some youth and inexperience, sometimes you kind of ride those highs a little bit too long, and we got a week 1 win, which was great for us, but kind of had a reality check week 2 against Hinsdale South last year, and then another brutal reality check week 3 against Ridgewood. So I think it's just more of we had a ton of talent throughout the field, but knowing that, you know, nothing in this game is given to you. We got to make sure that every single week we're willing to work. And I think coming into a new conference last year, we may have thought that it was kind of like, hey, we had saw some success the year prior to last season. Things are just going to be handed to us. And I think we learned that that's not always the case. But, you know, Ridgewood was kind of a kick in the butt to us. It's never fun losing on homecoming at home, right?
Yeah.
That's not a good idea.
No.
But then it showed, you know, against Glenbard South that we could play with anyone, that, you know, we have talent here at the school, and we have talent in our program, and the foundation is good. It's just understand that week in and week out, you got to bring your best. Like Friday nights and any football game, really, like anyone can beat anybody. You show up, you got to be willing to work, you got to be willing to compete. And so I think like this year we understand kind of what's at stake week in and week out. We know that every week's a grind, and there's no off weeks, and there's no, you know, competition that doesn't want to fight just as hard as we do. So we got to come ready to play every single week.
Absolutely. So I'm interested. I'm going to kick it to the quarterback, because you can't talk about football without mentioning the main position. Last year in week 1, G wasted no time getting things going on the ground. He had over 10 carries with over 50 rushing yards last year. So his first varsity start was good on the ground, all things considered. What did you learn about him last year? He was a sophomore. So obviously, you know, the young buck around all the seniors and juniors, kind of being that more underclassman kind of guy there at the biggest position in the game. What did you learn about Giancarlo last year that you appreciated more as the season went on?
I mean, the kid's a competitor, right? Like, I think that's what we look for the most out of our guys, right? When we look at the foundation of our program, it's all about working hard, putting the team first, and competing, right? We want to make sure that every guy knows that when you come out for football, that you're competing not only on the field, but in life every single day. We found that out pretty quick, that G is a competitor, man. Like, it's being a football quarterback is definitely the hardest position in all sports. I'll put that up against anybody. I don't care what sport you're playing. It is a hard position, and it's even harder when you're a sophomore playing up with all the big boys on varsity, right? He stepped into that role, did a phenomenal job for us all year. But he's a competitor, man. Like, no matter what situation you throw him in, he's going to find a way to compete. He tries to get the most out of his teammates, and, you know, he's in a battle right now with Braden Novak, too. Like, we know all summer we have 2 quality quarterbacks that we're rolling with all season, and, you know, best guy's going to come out and win, and we're looking forward to seeing them compete throughout the year, and we know that they got each other's backs no matter what. They're great friends. They're great competitors. They're great teammates. And, again, that's not an easy position to play, so we want to make sure that the guy that's out there is going to be one that's willing to compete and willing to do whatever it takes to win.
For sure. So last question here before we wrap this segment up. You had your juniors last year, pretty big, sizable junior 100%. Class on your football team throughout the roster, offense and defense, even special teams. You had John Bradick out there as well. I'm curious, did you see any leadership qualities throughout the season from your juniors grow that you feel confident, you know, with them going into the season as seniors, the top dogs? Do you think they'll be able to handle that role for the most part pretty well?
Man, I love our senior class right now, right? Like, them as juniors, if you kind of look at our roster from last year, most of our starters were juniors, right? So this year we're very fortunate that we're returning as many starters as we are. I think we have like 7 on the offensive side, like 6 or 7 on the defensive side. And that really starts with this leadership that we got up top. Our 5 captains this year are all seniors, so they were all juniors from last year. And I mean, we got from guys who have played football for 1 year, and Ben Biskupik, right, who was a basketball guy. There you go, Colin, give a shout out to your basketball boys. Or Damian Nieves, who's been up on varsity with us since he was a sophomore, right? Like, this senior class has gotten the work done. They had a phenomenal offseason. They've had a phenomenal summer. They know kind of what we're looking for out of a program. They know kind of what it takes to build a culture, and they know what, you know, our expectation is and what our standard is. And they've done a phenomenal job all season so far and holding ourselves up to that standard. They recognize some of the deficiencies we had last year, and they've worked tirelessly to make sure that we don't have those same deficiencies this year. So they've done a great job. I'm super excited to see what they all do as seniors, and hopefully we send them out the right way.
Absolutely. Well, we love those answers, and we're going to keep going on that track with the returners as we come back. Colin Cimino, we're going to kick it over to him after we return. But for first, a word from our sponsors.
After a great first segment with Styler, we're going to move into some of the returners. And everyone focuses on the preseason and the regular season, but let's talk a little bit about training camp. How's that been going for you guys?
Phenomenal, man. I mean, football is a grind, right? Like, when you look at kind of what we do for 9 games, right? We start working out as soon as that last season ends, pretty much. Like, we got guys who start itching, and we got to kind of tone it down a little bit, make sure their bodies are fresh, ready to rock and roll for week 1. So, I mean, our guys have been getting after in the weight room since, I mean, November, really, right? And then look at all of our off-season lifting that we got done throughout the whole second semester of last year, and then into our summer camp that started back in June. I mean, our guys have been working tirelessly. They're early mornings, longer days, but they haven't shied away from anything yet. So it's been a great summer. New coordinators, new coaches on staff, and our guys have been rolling with it, and they're picking it up really well, and I think we're in a really great spot going into week 1.
Yeah, and the value of the strong core of returning players, how valuable is that to you guys right now?
It's everything, man. Like, obviously you want a strong senior class, and you know there's always going to be years here at a public school that you just know that there's different waves of kids that come in, right? Like, we don't know how big that incoming freshman class is going to be, don't know how small or whatever, but we're fortunate enough right now that we got a great core of returners like we've talked about. And they've really been the leaders of this whole thing right now, right? Like, the coaches can do everything that we possibly can to put our guys in a position to be successful, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's their team, right? It's their experience right now. So they've been getting after it, they've been grinding. I mean, we meet with the captains now once a week. In the offseason, we're meeting once a week with kind of our offseason leaders. And they've been doing a heck of a job. So just really excited to see what they turn on Friday nights.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Sure. And are there any specific players you see stepping into bigger leadership roles?
Yeah, I mean, everything always really starts with the quarterback, right? And like we said earlier, there's two great ones that are competing their butts off right now, and they've had great control of the offense. If you kind of look across the board, Damian Nieves, like I mentioned earlier, 3-year varsity guy for us, has done a phenomenal job. He's moving more over to the defensive side of the football after 2 years starting on the offensive line for us. He's done a phenomenal job. Ben Biskupic, like I talked about, for a guy that's just been playing football since this year. I mean, he's done a wonderful job, and just the way that he leads that line group, right? Like, he's on the defensive line, but like the way he carries our offensive guys, right? Some of our younger dudes that we got, like Charlie Jicka, who's going to be a sophomore, starting for us up on varsity, like he carries that kid and he makes sure that, he's putting himself in a position to be successful. I mean, look across the board, man. Like, we just got guys all over the place. Brian Rampilla, who's going to be starting here in the middle of the field for us. Anthony Lemke, who's working into a starting linebacker spot. And then, I mean, if you look across our offensive line, we have 2 returning starters in Joaquin and Joey Campagna. But we got some young guys who are working their way into that offensive line, and, we're just really excited to see what they can do.
Yeah. And in what ways have you seen some of these returning players improve during the offseason?
Oh, man. I mean, like, just look at the work ethic they've been putting in. I think we set probably 6 or 7 new records down in the weight room, which is how hard they worked. I mean, they were getting after it 3 days a week. I'm getting videos of them that are working out at private gyms throughout the area, more specifically Hustle Hard over there in North Riverside. They've been doing a phenomenal job for us. Yeah, gotta shout them out, man. They're helping us out. But no, I mean, just the work ethic that we've seen this year is pretty unmatched, and something that we haven't seen in a long time, and we're hoping that it pays off.
Yeah. And for these returning players, what expectations do you have on and off the field?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about like goals, right? Or obviously the goal is always to get back to the playoffs and make sure we find ourselves in that winning record. But in terms of like just what the expectation is and what we want to do, like we just want guys that show up and want to work hard every single day, right? Like that's really it. And when we talk about working hard, it's not just on the football field. It's not in the weight room, right? It's working hard in everything that you do. It's making sure that we're leaders in the classroom. It's making sure they're sitting in the front couple rows. Like first day of school, I sent out an email to all their teachers that the expectation is that our football players are sitting in the front 2 rows of their classes. The expectation is that our team carries a 3.0 GPA, so they're making sure they're getting their work done. That there's no goofing off in class, no wandering the halls. Like we are leaders in the community. We're leaders in the school. And that's our expectation. We're leaders at home, right? We have a lot of guys, and this school and this community is so great that we put such a high emphasis on, like, what do we do outside of this place, right? Like, how do you act at home? How can mom and dad make sure they can count on you being a leader in that household? We know that we have a lot of families that count on their student athletes to be those role models for their younger siblings, and we make sure that that's the expectation day in and day out for those guys. So they've done a phenomenal job.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great to hear. We're going to head to a commercial break, and then we're going to kick it back to Aiden, and we're going to look into their regular season schedule.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We're going to move into our final segment here, looking ahead with Coach Styler here on the Playbook. So to start this final segment here, how do you plan on building on last season's sort of successes, but also address those challenges as well as we move into the season?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just learning from our experiences, right? It's just making sure that our guys understand, like we talked about earlier today, it's just like nothing's given to you, nothing's handed to you, right? Week 1, we beat Niles West last year, but that doesn't guarantee us anything this year, right? They have a new coaching staff over there. They have new players, just like we got some new players. And it's just understanding that week in and week out, we got to go out and grind, and we got to make sure that we're putting ourselves in a position to be successful. It means a great week of practice. It means a great week of preparation, make sure our bodies are being taken care of, and getting out there and executing day in and day out. So we know we got a tough schedule ahead of us. We know that we got some tough conference opponents that a couple of them we were able to beat last year, a couple of them we lost to, so we got to make sure that we're ready to bounce back and have a great year.
For sure. So for the people who don't really know, I guess, what does game week look like from Monday to game day? If you could explain that for the people.
Football is it's a long week, man.
Yeah.
Like when you kind of break it down, right? Like Monday starts off with a lift for us. Then we go into our preparation meetings. So we talk about what our opponent does on offense, defense, and special teams. Then we'll go outside for a little bit on the field, make sure we walk through like any new installs that we got going on this week, kind of what their scout teams are going to look like throughout the week. Tuesday is a regular practice for us right after school. We get after it for about 2 hours. Wednesday's a rather long day. It's a night that we like coming out under the lights and get that feel for what a Friday night would feel like. So guys are in here in the weight room at about 5. Then we go up to meetings to make sure we can clean up anything that we've seen so far on Monday and Tuesday. Then we're hitting the field at 6:45, and they get out about 9 o'clock. Thursdays, we obviously have our late start day, so it allows our guys to sleep in a little bit. Wednesdays, we also do our grade checks to make sure that our guys are staying on top of their studies. Thursday, then, it's a little bit more of a walkthrough, cleaning up anything. I mean, last couple of adjustments, but not much because the hay's already in the barn at that point, right? So Thursday is just a walkthrough, make sure everyone's ready to rock and roll. All of our special teams know where they're going out, depth charts know where we're going. Then Friday is game day, right? So we're ready to rock and roll, whether we're here at away opponent. They get out there and we go play a game, usually kicking off around 7:30, 7 o'clock. Then Saturday mornings, these guys are in here at 8 o'clock in the morning, getting a recovery workout in and going over the film from the night before. Coaches sit around here till about noon or so, 1 o'clock, and make sure our film for the next opponent's ready to rock and roll. Sunday, all of our coaches are at home watching the film of our opponent, so we know what we got going on. Sunday night, the coaches get together for a meeting around 7 o'clock. So
there you go. I'd say that sounds pretty busy to me.
A little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. So one more question before we got to wrap things up here. Unfortunately, cut it a little bit short. A bit of a broader question, but what are your goals for the team and for yourself as the head coach of the football team this season?
Yeah, man. I mean, goals, right? If we're just putting in tangibility, like we want to make the playoffs. That's a kind of a straight up goal. We want to get back to where I know that this program can get to. And personal goal for me is just making sure I'm setting a good example for this program, for this community. Just through the actions out on the field, make sure our team is playing to the standard that we want them to, and making sure I set a good example for our guys. Like now, as a father, as a teacher here, like it's something that I pride myself on, is making sure that our guys know that I'm someone they come talk to. My coaches know that I'm someone they come talk to, and we kind of make sure everything's settled that we need to get done. But as long as all of our guys are moving in the right direction, and as long as we're all pulling to a common goal, we know what we got to get done. So looking forward to a great 2025 season.
There you go, absolutely. Well, fortunately, we're going to have to cut it here. That'll do it from the home studio here in RBTV. That was the first edition of the Playbook. Looking forward to continuing this throughout the season. Coach, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks,
good luck this year, and we'll hear more from you throughout the year.
Yeah,
Appreciate you.
Lots to look forward to these next couple months, and we hope you guys will stick around and just see what's to come.
Absolutely.
Here from RBTV.
There you go.
Appreciate you guys.